On to our next speaker. I see Catriona is all lined up and ready to go, which is great. Catriona is going to talk about connecting with careers which are meaningful and fulfilling, things that we all hope for. The title of her talk is called How to Make the Work-Life Balance Work. Catriona Kirwan, it's lovely to have you here today. I hope you're well. You're looking like a burst of colour on the screen. Are you?
Thanks very much. Yeah, good. Now it's a nice morning and I'm nice and calm, hoping to get given good few tips to help people get that work-life balance to work for them.
Brilliant. Well, you know what? I'm going to hand the floor to you. The floor is now yours, Catriona. And after about 20, 25 minutes, we'll have a couple of minutes for questions that people can pop in the chat function. So it's over to you, Catriona. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to share my screen there.
Sure thing, yeah.
This
is always the exciting bit. Will it work? Ooh, no, we know it will. There we go.
Actually, sorry, now it's gone.
That's okay. That's quite okay. I will use it as a chance to just remind people that we will have people speaking on the virtual agenda stage until 4 o'clock this afternoon. There we go.
Okay, that should look like a screen that's shared. Okay, so work-life balance, work-life harmony, or even work-life integration. Whatever you choose to call it, one thing is clear. This is not a one-size-fits-all, and it means vastly different things to different people. Why? Because everybody's life and work commitments are very, very different. My name is Catriona Kirwan. I'm an accredited thought leader in high-impact coaching with neuroscience, and stress, workplace well-being, work-life harmony, and fulfillment are my main areas of interest and expertise. But today, what I'm hoping to do is to give you a few tips that you can walk away with in order for you to introduce some small changes that will make a big difference to you. So what exactly am I going to cover in the presentation? I'm going to look at the benefits of working on a work-life balance or harmony. I'm going to look at what we call life priorities. And I'm going to look at time versus energy and why it's key to work on energy levels in order to improve your overall productivity. So first of all, why do we want to know the benefits of working on a work-life harmony? Well, for starters, the brain only works with something that it sees a reward to attach to. So if it doesn't recognize any real benefits to doing something, it's much more reluctant to engage with it. So what exactly are the benefits of working on a work-life harmony? Well, first and most importantly is we'll have an improved health and sense of well-being. We'll be less stressed, and because we're less stressed, there'll be less chance of burnout. We'll be happier and more fulfilled, and a happier employee is a more productive employee. So we'll have better productivity in our work time, freeing up time and energy to do the things and be with the people that we love. So we'll have a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment to life. So next thing, what exactly is a work-life balance? So this is a picture that I found when I was browsing on the internet, and it was one that caught my eye. It's amazing because it's really trying hard to promote the gender equality thing, which is terrific. However, there is a gaping hole here. If you look at the professional part, it's very much defined by the suit, the briefcase, the laptop, and the pie chart. And the life then is the baby minding and the domestic chores. However, in order to have a fulfilled, meaningful life where we feel in flow, there are many other components that we need to consider. So what exactly are these components? So very often when people come to me for coaching and they're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, lacking fulfillment or flow to their lives, asking, is there more? One of the first things we work on and look at is life priorities. So if we don't know what our life priorities are, it's very, very hard to reach a work-life balance. So when we go through life without a list or without ever checking in to ask ourselves what our life priorities are, it can very often feel like we're sort of lost in the forest or rambling around in the dark. But when we work on and look at what our life priorities actually are, decisions and choices in life get much, much easier. So one of the first questions I ask clients, and it's quite a powerful question, is to step back and ask yourself, what does a successful life look like to you? So rolling on a few years' time, and you are successful in life, what does that look like? And here are some of the aspects to consider in what we call the wheel of life. So the first one there is your health and wellness. If you don't have health and wellness somewhere at the top of your priority list, how are you going to serve the other priorities in your life? So it's very important to make sure that your own health and wellness comes in somewhere in your priority list. The next one there, partner or romance, is that a priority for you? Do you have a partner? How do you prioritize that? The next one, family. People tell me my family is really important to me, but what is it about your family? Children even. Is it that you want to provide financial security for your children, or is it that you want to spend quality time nourishing your children? Because depending on what it actually is, the action steps to serve that priority will be very, very different. Friends, we've all been starved of friendships in person over COVID, and that actually rises our stress levels, because when we connect with friends or family, it stimulates the production of oxytocin in the body, which relieves stress levels and helps us to be less stressed. So how important are friendships to you? Where is that on your priority list? And then when we look at the whole area of career and financial security, break it down. What's important to you in a career? Is it that you have opportunities to climb the corporate ladder? Is it that you want financial security? Is it that you want a flexible job that you can choose your own? What exactly is it? And the next one there is fun and recreation. And a lot of clients look at me as if I have 5 heads when I ask them, what does fun mean to you? When was the last time you had fun? Because when we have fun and actually laughter is an antidote to stress. And when we're actually laughing, you can't actually be stressed at the same time, because laughter triggers that parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for that calm and grounded state. And the last one there is personal growth. And that's all around kind of finding purpose and fulfillment in your life. And I'm going to actually touch on that as we move on through the presentation. But we don't stop growing and developing as humans when we're 18 or 20. So how are you continuing to grow and develop as a human? So that's going to be quite important as well. So when you're doing a priority list, get them all down, break them down, and break each section down and ask yourself, what's priority for me there? And put them in order, so that when you're making choices and decisions, it's much, much easier. And the second advantage to it is, if you're beating yourself up over not achieving a goal, and you look at your priority list and find that that's maybe number 10 on your list, well, we're not superhuman, so we can't do everything. So it's it's a little security thing to sort of tell you it's okay not to achieve that right now, because it's not at the top of my priority list. So that's all good and well, but how am I going to achieve all of this? I don't have time. And that's one of the key things I hear an awful lot. I don't have the time. But time is a finite entity. And whether you're running the largest organization in the world, or working in a corner shop, or a stay-at-home parent, we all have 24 hours in every day. And there's nothing we can do about that. However, what we can work on is our productivity. in that time. So maybe you're telling me that you're working 12 or 14 hours a day, but how productive really are you in that time? What are your energy levels like? And energy is our capacity to do work. So there's lots we can do to optimize our energy, which will ultimately improve our productivity and again feed into freeing up time for other things that are on our life priority list. And that will ultimately improve that work-life balance. So in terms of energy, we have 4 energy wells in the body: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And by making small improvements so that we're replenishing and not continually depleting our energy levels, that will help us to work smarter and not longer. So I'm going to start off, I'll briefly go through some of these and maybe just look at a few things that could improve energy levels. So I'm going to start off with the physical energy well there, which is probably the most powerful one. So the 4 pillars in physical energy wellness are hydration, diet, exercise, and sleep. So by making just little improvements to each of them, it will greatly improve your energy levels. So hydration is really, really important. Our brains are made up of 75% water, and any bit of dehydration will start to have an impact. So things like lack of concentration, irritability, that all comes from dehydration. So a good start to the day, a good big glass of water first thing in the morning, and just to ensure that your water bottle or glass is continually filled throughout the day. The second one there is diet. Now, I'm not claiming to be a dietitian, but what you're aiming for is a fairly consistent sugar level of sugar in the body as you go throughout the day. So this gives us a slow, sort of more steady release of energy, which will help to sustain us throughout the day. So the main rule of thumb here is the more natural the produce is, the slower the release of the sugar. So what you don't want happening is that you're reaching for the sugary snacks. Your sugar levels peak and then they drop really quickly, which is kind of detrimental to productivity as you move through the day. So the next one there is exercise. Exercise actually gives us energy, and aerobic exercise, so that's walking, swimming, cycling, anything, you know, where you're moving the body kind of consistently for 20 to 30 minutes, that actually suppresses the release of our stress neurochemical cortisol. And of course, stress is a huge sapper of our energy, our creativity, our productivity. So when that cortisol is suppressed, we actually feel less stressed. So exercise will reduce our stress levels and it will allow us to feel more energized. And the last one there is sleep. So what can I say about sleep? It not only improves energy levels, but it actually consolidates memory. It improves focus and attention, problem-solving skills, which will improve so that you will be more productive in less time. So that's the physical energy well. I'm going to move on now and talk about probably a more controversial one, which is the mental energy well. So the main threats to our mental energy, the first one there, no surprise, is social media. So in our modern world, we are always on, always waiting for the next bing, instant gratification, instant reaction. And that always on culture is mentally exhausting. And what the impact it's having is that our attention span is reducing at a rapid rate. So if we don't practice intervening, it will only get worse. So questions to ask yourself are, how attached are you to your phone, your social media? Can you disconnect to connect? So what do I mean by that? Disconnect from social media to connect with the people who actually are on your priority list. So what does lunch look like for you? What does your evening meal look like? Can you actually eat with your phone in another room or switched off, because where your attention goes, your energy flows. So if you are having a family meal or you're eating with your partner or whatever, if your social media is on and your phone is continually binging, that's where your attention is going, and your energy flows after it. So where your attention goes, your energy flows. So the next one there is distractions. And of course, one of the biggest distraction is phone and social media. So people say that maybe they're working long hours. You might say it's taken me 3, 4, 5 hours to do a task. But a recent report in Harvard Business Review actually had a startling statistic. It was on a sample of executives who were put in rooms with no distractions. And it actually took only 1/3 of the time it would normally take to complete an average task when all the distractions were removed. So when you say, I don't have time for all these other things, could you work on a task without your distractions, maybe get it done much quicker and free up the time so that you do have time to spend on these other things? And the other one there is multitasking. So we all think we're great at multitasking, but actually the brain cannot multitask. What it's doing is task switching. So when we task switch and move from one task to the next and back and over and back, it's exhausting on the brain. It's draining us of our mental energy, because every time we move our focus and attention, our energy is moving. And the brain, it doesn't like it. It finds it exhausting. So the most efficient, effective way to work is to focus on a task, do it, complete it, and then move on to the next task. So a question there to consider is, what one change could you make around your mental energy to improve your productivity and maybe give you more time to spend on those things on your life priority that would give you a better work-life balance? So I'm going to move on now, and I talked about personal growth in the as a life priority, but an energy well that's very often not tapped into is our spiritual energy well, and that gives us meaning and purpose. So I suppose historically, in previous generations, a lot of people got their spiritual energy through religion. They spent, weekends at church and prayer and all of that. But that's less so in modern generations. And there's a huge amount of people now looking for more meaning from life, more purpose in life. So where can we get that? Well, a good place to start looking is in your job. What is your role? What is the purpose of your organization? And organizations are much more inclined to publish mission statements now. Read the mission statement and ask yourself, how can I connect with that? Because when we are consumed by a job that we're not connected, it can be very much an energy drainer. So ask yourself, does the company purpose resonate with you, and could you connect with it? And what we're finding now is a lot of organizations are connecting with charities and have charity partners, because service to others, giving back to society, is a huge source of spiritual energy, and we feel energized when we feel we're giving to others. So that connection with charities, or look around your own community. Could you connect with your community, maybe the residents association, the local GAA club, whatever it is? Being actively involved in a community can very much energize you, and maybe it will serve one of your life priorities. And again, by improving your productivity, it will actually free up time to connect in with some of these things. And then one of the big ones is connecting inwardly and asking yourself, who am I? Who do I want to be in the world? So connecting back in with yourself through yoga or meditation will help to bring that spiritual energy to life. So now that we've established life priorities and we've looked at these various things, what can we do to sort of connect it all? And one of the most important things that we really, really need to do if we're going to improve our work-life balance is introduce healthy boundaries. So boundaries are the limits we set to protect our time and energy. And very often, the biggest obstacle when it comes to setting boundaries is ourselves. Fear of what others might think if we say no grips us, and suddenly all their needs come ahead of our own, their priorities come ahead of our own priorities. But where is our own self-worth? So by establishing a boundary, we start doing things out of want, not out of obligation. So a couple of sentence starters there are, I am allowed to turn off my phone at 6 o'clock in the evening. I have the right to ask for time to do my daily exercise, maybe a lunchtime where I can get out and get some fresh air. What is it? So what one boundary could you introduce to protect your time and energy so that you could better serve your life priorities? So I know that's been a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but in summary, work-life balance or work-life harmony is a very individual thing. So stay in your own lane. Introduce balance and harmony that's suited to you. Identify your individual life priorities, including your career. Break them down and ask yourself, what's really important to you? Manage your energy, because as we said, we all have the same amount of time. So by managing your energy, eliminating some of those distractions, you will improve your productivity, freeing up more time to spend on the things and with the people that are really important to you. Establish some healthy boundaries around your time and your energy, and take responsibility for your own happiness in identifying a work-life harmony that works for you. So that's my presentation, and if you would like to know any more or contact me, that's my website. My email address is Catriona Kirwan Coaching, and I'm on all of the social media platforms. So thanks for listening.
Thank you, Catriona. There was a wealth of information there. And I have to say, like, I'm in my 40s and I had thought, sure, I'm grand. There's so much there that I think you can apply at every stage of your life. I think that was absolutely brilliant. And do you remember they've been told that you can't lick your elbow? That popped into my head when you said that you can't be stressed while you're laughing. Yes. So that was a good one to stick in my head, I guess. And the idea as well that you would read the mission statement of a potential employer to see if it is something that would sit well with you. I thought that was really interesting. And I suppose it feels in a sense like we have more choices in that way. We don't necessarily have to jump at the first opportunity. I suppose we don't want to panic ourselves into that reaction. Generally the role of health and wellness. And I think when employers realize it has an effect on the bottom line, was that maybe the turning point when it became like really important for people to be in the workplace to be well?
Yeah, and a happy, well employee is a much more productive employee. And this is something that I'm really, really passionate about. A stressed out employee, stress is the biggest antidote to productivity that there actually is. And people are still slow to actually recognize that. And when we have all these other areas, you know, when we connect, tap into our soul and have that kind of sense of community or belonging, that all impacts on our productivity.
Yeah, fascinating. The idea as well of doing up your priority list, really important. And all these kind of things, I suppose, it's not that you need, and this is something that has come up a couple of times over the morning so far. It's not necessarily that you would sit down for 2 hours and think, right, I'm going to put all my priorities here. It might just be start with 5 minutes today, and that may stretch to 10 minutes, but maybe do another 5 minutes tomorrow, not to maybe overload your brain. You mentioned as well, and for years I've been trying to get into meditation. Oh my God, I'm the worst meditator. I get so distracted, but there's so many great resources online. Like, you can't look on YouTube without tripping over a meditation. And my favorite one, Dermot Whelan, is Today FM radio presenter, and he's a wellness coach. He's a meditation coach, and he teaches a 16-second meditation. You breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it in for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, and you hold it out for 4 seconds. And that can maybe just stop you tipping over the edge and give you a chance to just get back and ground yourself a little bit. Anyway, Catriona, I could probably keep you here for ages, but I do need to let you go. But it was genuinely a real pleasure to get to hear you talk about these things. And I'm so glad that they are being taken so seriously as well in the workplace, as you say, so important for us. So it was lovely to get to hear you today, Catriona. And I know you had all your websites and email addresses and whatnot up there so that people can contact you if they need to. So thank you so much.